Hello and welcome to this video where I want to investigate endgame studies with the material constellation King and Pawn versus King. So this is a quite simple material constellation, but there are some studies here and it can get quite complex, as we will see. In this online free database, which is shown on the screen, I found 4 studies which we will investigate. And then I created 2 additional ones. And if you want to make most out of the video, there is a Lichess study where you can find the link in the description. And I would recommend that you pause the video now, click on the Lichess link, solve the studies, and only then resume the video and watch how I present the solutions. Or if you don't want to do that, just relax and enjoy the show. So the first study is from Hornecker from 2005. It's a rather easy one in my opinion and a good one to start with. So white has the h-pawn, and of course in the first move we have to prevent losing it, so we have to play h3. And after king f3, white has 2 moves, king g5 and king h5. One is good, one is wrong. King h5 would be a big mistake because then king f4. And now after h4, king f5, the black king reaches the key square f8, which is an immediate draw with this pawn on the edge. Because if the white king goes away from the h-file, then black is able to occupy the square h8, and white can only stalemate from there now. So white has to play king g5 in order to prevent king f4, and then the win is easy, king g3, h4, and in the study of Hornecker the solution ends. However, after king h3, one more precise move is required. You can see, although you can see in the table basis there are 2 winning moves, h5 and king h5, only one is really a winning move, because king h5 would allow king g3, and now you have to repeat the position, which is not good. If you do this another time, it's a draw because of 3 times repetition. So the only winning move is h5. And afterwards there are multiple winning moves, so now we can leave the study. The second study I want to show you is from Grigoriev. There is no exact year when this was created. And as we can see in the starting position, white cannot just run with the pawn, because the black king can reach the square by this pawn. So the pawn needs the help of the king, and therefore white plays king b3. And now we have the opposition, and now the kings are running toward the king side, but white maintains the opposition. And now after king f5, or also king h5 would be similar, then king f4 would follow. White occupies one of the key squares, which are the squares 2 rows in front of the pawn, and if that happens, the position is winning, as a rule of thumb. Now in the original solution there is the move king f6, and then white already has 2 winning moves, king h5 and g3 would both win, so it's not a study-like solution anymore. Instead, black could play king g6, which requires 1 more precise move from white, or actually 2, namely king g4, king f6, and now the only move which wins without repeating the position is king h5. And then in the next move there is some choice between playing g3 or another king move, and it's not a study-like solution anymore. So 9 precise moves are required for the win. Now let's go to the next study, which is from Dirtina from 1908. White wants to reach one of these key squares, and has actually 2 possible routes. One is the king this way, another one would be the king like this way to c6. One is good, one is wrong. The difference is the black king can reach c6 quite fast in 3 moves, while for a6 he needs 5 moves. Whereas for the white king, It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, sorry, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for both squares. So white has to go to the a file. King c2, king e7, king b3, king d6, and now king a4. King c6 would be a draw because of king c6 with the opposition. King a4, king c6, king a5, king b7, and now king b5 with the opposition. In the next move, white will get to one of the key squares. So either king a7, king c6, or let's do this both with red arrows, or king c7, king a6, and white occupies the key square. So the illusion stops here. And initially I thought, yeah, that's fine, because now it's easily winning. But then the fourth study got me thinking. So this is Hildebrand from 1954. He starts here and starts with king a4. And now we actually have already a transposition to the Dirtina study. Because in the Dirtina study, after the third move, it's the same. Yeah, the same position. However, Hildebrand does not stop here. He says after king a7 you have to play king c6. And then I first thought, yeah, but king a5 and king c5 are also table base wins. Yes, that's true. But if you play king c5, king b7, you have to repeat. You have to repeat with king d5. So that's not really a progress. You have to play king c6 to make progress. King a6, b5 check. Again, king c5, king a7 repeats the position. Or king b7, sorry. Yeah. b5 check, king a7. And now, and that's why it's important, it's not easy yet, until now. If you play now b6, it's a draw. King a8, famous stalemate trap. King c7 is stalemate. King b8, b7 check, king b8, king b6 is also stalemate. So that's not the solution. White has to find king c7. King a8, and now again, not b6. b6 is stalemate. Attention, king b6 is the solution. King b8, and now you have to go king a6. And this is really a well-known position which every player should know, because I have seen players at master level, I think it was a FIDE master, in Blitz, who misplayed this. Played king c6 and the game ended in a stalemate. Of course, after king c6, you can still go back with king b6. But then why should you play king c6 in this position? No, the solution is king a6. King a8, b6 only move, king b8, b7, king c7, king a7, all only moves. So 11 moves are necessary for this study. Now, let's be honest, from a practical point of view, you don't need to learn like an 11 move study by heart. That's not necessary. What you have to learn is like this position. This position you need to know. King a6 should go without thinking, because in a blitz game you don't have the time to think, is it now king a6 or king c6? No, you have to know that. Also, the key concepts like here, that you are the same, you are equally fast with going to a4 and going to c4. You have to know you go to a4. And how can you train this? With my chessable course. My chessable course, Endgame Terminator, shows you all endgames with 4 pieces or fewer. So really basic endgames, but these you really need to learn by heart. And the spaced repetition move trainer from Chessable is perfectly to learn this by heart. Okay, back to our studies. So if we combine Hildebrand and Dirtina, we would get to 13 moves, because Hildebrand it was 11 precise moves needed, and it actually starts just 2 moves later than the Dirtina study. So in Dirtina you need 3 moves to get to king a4, in Hildebrand only 1. So you were at 13 moves. And then when I saw that, I was thinking, is this the longest or is it not? And then I used this Python chess library, and I programmed a Python program to find out if this is the longest possible study or not. And also I needed the help of the table bases. I can recommend to download the table bases from Lichess. All these links are in the description of the video. And then after I wrote my program, I had to let it run through the night. It took quite some time to analyze all these possible positions, and it found a longer one. And it's this one here. So it's similar to the dirtiness study. It's the main difference is that the pawn is on b3 instead of b4. And also here, white needs to go to the a5. King b2, king d5, king a3, and king c6. That was quite interesting because, like, intuitively you would play king c5. But after king c5, king a4, king b6, king b4, the position is similar to the Grigoriev study. There it was the g-pawn, but yeah. And after some moves later, white has multiple winning moves. But if black goes to c6, king a4, king c5, there is only one winning move, and this is king a5. King c6, and now only winning move b4. You can play king a6, it doesn't spoil anything, but you have to repeat the position. The same for king a4, because we already had this position 2 moves ago. So b4 the only winning move, king b7, king b5, and now we are back to the Hildebrand and Dürtiner study. So I won't explain now all the moves again, I just run through them, and in the end we get to a total amount of moves of 14. So 14 moves is the longest sequence of precise moves in a winning king and pawn versus king endgame. But that was not all, because my program not only looked at winning studies, but also drawing studies. And it showed me this position. And yeah, here white has to stop the f-pawn. Fortunately, the king is in the square, otherwise it would not be possible. Or the king will enter the square of the pawn with its next move. And it can do it with king b2 or king b1. But there is only one move which works. King b2 fails due to king b4, and black gets the opposition and will occupy one of the key squares. Instead, king b1 is the solution. If now king b4, white would occupy the opposition with king b2, and then it's draw. If king b5, black has the far opposition, but he cannot transform it into a real opposition. And furthermore, after both kings run to the e-file, white plays king f1, and black is now not longer able to maintain the far opposition because his pawn is in the way. So now he has to step forward, and now white gets the opposition with king e2. And now this is now the technical phase. You need to know how to defend this endgame. There are only moves for white. You never have a choice. f4, king f2, f3. Only one move to draw is king f1. You should know that. That's a basic endgame. King f4, king f2, king e4, king f1 again, king e3, king e1, f2 check, king f1, king d2, and one more precise move is needed, not king g2, this would lose. But of course king takes f2. And now we have 15 only moves for white. And this is the longest endgame study with king and pawn versus king. At least that's what my program says, and I believe in this program. But if you find anything which goes longer, please let me know in the comment section. I am planning to do some more videos like this with different material constellations. So stay tuned for other videos. Thanks for watching.